a Playlist original.
Hey everyone, Jeff here from Films at Home. Thanks for coming back to the Films at Home podcast today. Now, this episode is a brand new one in a new series that I'm calling Coming Soon. Now, the response to the regular podcast episodes has been incredible. You guys have been extremely supportive. We've had a ton of audio downloads, a ton of video views. It's been a ton of fun to do. And so what I wanted to do was just add another weekly segment and a new sort of shorter episode called Coming Soon, where I'm going to talk about what's releasing on Blu-ray and 4K this week. I'm going to talk about last week's Blu-ray and 4K sales and talk about some research that Media Play News does with market share. And then I'll also cover any relevant news stories or, anything of that nature that comes through each week. So I will be posting these episodes every Tuesday. As you may know, Tuesday is the release day for most Blu-ray and 4K releases. That's when home entertainment releases hit the shelves, hit storefronts, hit the online stores. So every Tuesday this will come out. I'll be covering the titles that are coming out on that day and then talk about sales data from the previous week, because that does take an extra week to catch up with Media Play News and all their research. So that's what it's going to be. These will be short episodes. I can't imagine that they go more than 20, 30 minutes most times, but it's just a little extra piece of content, and it also helps you stay up to date with what's actually releasing each week and what you may want to keep an eye on and just what sort of news is out there. So that's what I'm doing. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. Like, this is a new attempt for me, right, to try something different, but a lot of people have asked for information on what's coming, and so this is coming soon. So to kick things off, right, this episode's dropping on March 21st of 2023. And so we obviously want to talk about which releases are dropping on March 21st of 2023. And here's your list. Some of the big ones, honestly, the biggest one in my eyes is, in my eyes, there's a pun, Red Eye on 4K. That's a new title from Paramount Presents. I would say, little known Wes Craven movie, considering his catalog. People don't talk about Red Eye, but it's actually a really, really good movie. It's a great thriller. It's a little bit of a Hitchcockian thriller, and I'm so excited that that's coming to 4K. So that's a new 4K release from Paramount Presents. We're also getting Dragon Slayer on 4K. That has a couple different packaging options, but that's also coming from Paramount. That's a 1980s, I'd call it sort of a cult fantasy movie that I know a lot of you are very excited about. I honestly have never seen it, so I'm excited to check that one out. But Dragon Slayer 4K is releasing this week, as well as Babylon on 4K. This is the sort of now notorious Babylon for its box office bust. But from everything I've heard, and I've yet to watch my 4K copy, I probably will this week, I've heard it's actually really good. And I've heard it just didn't connect with audiences. It had maybe some poor marketing. It just wasn't the type of movie that's going to perform at the box office, I guess. But I heard it was really, really good if you like that sort of stylized and movie old Hollywood. And it's directed by Damien Chazelle, who did, La La Land and Whiplash. So he's got some great movies under his belt. So I can't wait to check that out. But that's releasing with both a Steelbook and a standard 4K release. And then to round out some of the mainstream 4K, we've got Rocky IV. So Rocky IV, that's a standalone release. You can get that in a Steelbook. Previously, the Rocky Complete, or I shouldn't say complete, it's only the first 4 movies. The Knockout Collection was available as a package, but then each week they've released individual Rocky movies on 4K Steelbook. So this one rounds out Rocky IV. Now, some boutique stuff that's coming to 4K this week. We've got Final Exam on 4K Blu-ray. That is a slasher movie from 1981 that's coming from Dark Force Entertainment. I don't know them very well, but I'm always down for more 4K slasher movies. So then one more from Classic Flicks. We've got The Long Wait from 1954 coming to 4K. Stars Anthony Quinn, Charles Coburn, Gene Evans, and Reggie Castle. This is a limited edition release from Classic Flicks. They do some really good work on restorations of lesser known movies, but they're bringing them to 4K. So it's pretty awesome that they're doing that. Now, outside of the 4K releases, that covers all of that, but some of the just standard Blu-ray releases for this week, I think the big one for a lot of people is probably going to be Megan. That is the big box office hit, another Blumhouse horror movie with, low budget, huge, huge box office returns. I mean, it was a sort of a like cultural phenomenon here, I'd say, for a little bit. Like that was a pretty big deal. The marketing was everywhere. It was a big deal online. It went viral on like TikTok a few places. And so I've heard very good things. This is also the unrated edition that comes out here on Blu-ray. So that's going to be a lot of fun to check out. The other big one for a lot of you Criterion Collection fans is probably Inland Empire. That's David Lynch's movie from 2006. That's making its Criterion Collection debut on Blu-ray today, March 21st. So if you're a Criterion Collection enthusiast, if you like David Lynch, that is certainly one to check out. Outside of that, there's a lot of other stuff that's sort of, I'd say, like more obscure, more boutique. One of the ones that you guys will probably look at if you're into horror movies is Dr. Giggles. This is a re-release of this from Shout Factory. It's had a release before on Blu-ray, but it went out of print. So Shout Factory is bringing back Dr. Giggles. So that could be a cool one for you all. We also have Sorry, Wrong Number. This is another Shout Factory release, 1948 black and white movie. I don't know much about that one, but stars Burt Lancaster and Barbara Stanwyck. We've also got Critical Condition coming on Blu-ray. This is a Richard Pryor comedy from 1987. So if you're into Richard Pryor, that could be a fun one. Star Trek Strange New Worlds is also dropping season 1. That's coming to Blu-ray this week if you're at all interested in Star Trek. I personally am more of a Star Wars guy than a Star Trek guy. I know some of you are probably going to give me a hard time for that, but I don't know. I just never really got into Star Trek. I was always Star Wars. Star Wars was always my thing. So I don't know, but Strange New Worlds. I believe that was I think that was like a Paramount Plus show. Again, I'm not a big Star Trek guy, but another one coming from Lionsgate is Seriously Red on Blu-ray, which I didn't know anything about this, but when I was reading it, it's about a real estate agent who trades in her career for a spotlight as a Dolly Parton impersonator. And it stars people like Rose Byrne, Bobby Cannavale, Daniel Weber, Crew Boylan. I don't know. It sounded pretty interesting to me personally, but we'll have to check that one out. And then Kino Lorber has Flaming Ears coming to Blu-ray, which is, according to them, I don't know this one, a pop sci-fi lesbian fantasy feature set in the year 2700. So if that is your speed, you might enjoy that one. But that one is probably going to be outside of my purview. That's not something I'd probably buy, but could be interesting to you all. So that's pretty much it. There's some other, I don't get too deep into there's like anime stuff coming. There's Left Behind, Rise of the Antichrist, some kind of lower tier movies coming out, and a bunch of anime, which I don't really get into, but it's a pretty decent week, at least for 4K, with Red Eye and Dragon Slayer coming from Paramount, Babylon, Rocky IV, The Long Wait. I'm personally interested in Final Exam because I'm a big horror movie slasher fan, but Inland Empire, that's a big release, and so is Megan, and Dr. Giggles coming back into print. That is much appreciated for most horror fans out there who have been trying to get their hands on that one as well. So a pretty decent week when it comes to releases. Not too bad. Anytime you get 5 or 6 4K releases in a week, that's a pretty good week. Now, shifting gears, going over to Media Play News, I do want to talk about, like I said, the 4K and Blu-ray sales each week. And so Media Play News publishes this each week. This is for the week that ended March 11th. So every time I do one of these episodes, I'll be like a week behind because it takes time to compile that research and check out all of the sales. But something I thought was really interesting off the bat was that the week that ended in March 11th, we've been seeing 4K shares get as high as 20% of the market. And if you look at March 11th that week, DVD sold 66% of all physical media, Blu-ray 25%, and 4K just 9%. So kind of interesting there because it's been trending the other way. Blu-ray had been shrinking, 4K had been growing, and DVD had been shrinking down to about 50%. Now, I would attribute that honestly to the movies that released that week. So if we look at the top selling discs for that week, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish was number one. Okay. So if you think about Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, I loved it on 4K, and I think everybody should buy it on 4K. But it only had a 4K share of 8%. It only had a Blu-ray share of 51%. So that's 59% in total, meaning 41% of people who bought Puss in Boots bought this on DVD. So that definitely drove a lot of that market. The other title that came out that week was Whitney Houston's biopic, I Want to Dance with Somebody. That was only a Blu-ray release. It only had a 34% share of Blu-ray. So 66% of people bought the DVD for that release. So that's a big one. And then Puss in Boots had a 2-movie collection, which only sold 31% on Blu-ray, meaning that 69% of people bought that on DVD. So the DVD market, I think it trends towards like family movies, kids movies, stuff that parents are just looking to get for cheap for their kids. I think that's what drives some of this. But honestly, even if you look at the number 2 seller for this week, which was Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, still hanging around as the number 2 best seller, it only sold 19% on 4K and 48% on Blu-ray. So quick math there, that's 67%. 33% of people out there are still buying Black Panther: Wakanda Forever on DVD, which to me just kind of boggles my mind because that's the type of movie you'd at least buy on Blu-ray. If you want to get even crazier, let's take a look at Top Gun Maverick, which was still a top 5 selling disc for this week. 49% Blu-ray, 18% 4K. Put those together, quick math again, that's also 67%. 33% of people out there, 1 out of every 3 people who bought Top Gun Maverick, bought it on DVD, which, I get it. It's a cheaper format, but to me, Top Gun Maverick is a movie you've got to at least get on Blu-ray, right? Never mind 4K. So it just speaks to sort of the slow adoption of the 4K format. Like we're definitely still getting people to adopt 4K. It's still a slow progress. It has been getting better recently for sure. We've had some really good weeks, but I think just March 11th, that week was kind of a slow week. Puss in Boots was really the only big release, although the Mask of Zorro and Air Force One that came out, 4K steelbooks, those did jump into the top 10 for 4K discs. So that's nice to see. Like people are still supporting those collectible editions. Training Day was still hanging around. John Wick chapters 1 to 3. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre was still top 10. Kubo and the Two Strings, that was top 10. So like it's not bad. And actually Black Panther was the number 1 selling 4K disc, even above Puss in Boots. So you can see people are still out there supporting, but honestly, if you look at it like year over year, if we look at the revenue report, things are still down even over last year. So DVD revenue was down $14 million. That's 26.5% lower than this same week last year. And Blu-ray revenue was down $10.5 million, only down 2% from the same week last year. So that's pretty good. Like if we only see a 2% dip, and this does vary based on the week. Like when Top Gun Maverick came out, obviously there's going to be a lot more revenue there. Puss in Boots being the only one that came out, kind of slow, a slow week. So not too bad, not terrible, but just interesting to still see, how many people are buying DVD, even of these movies like Top Gun Maverick or Black Panther. I totally get Puss in Boots and other movies like that where families are trying to save money. But I just can't imagine, somebody buying Top Gun Maverick on DVD, but that's what people are doing. And so honestly, like the thing is, as long as you're buying physical media on any format, you're still supporting the physical media market. And that is a very good thing. So, I can't knock anybody there. But these sales reports, and I highly encourage you guys to go to mediaplaynews.com and check them out each week, because it is very, very interesting what actually sells and on what formats. because you'd think something like the Rocky Knockout collection would continue to sell pretty well. It had some issues, but that dipped pretty hard from the 5th spot down to 15. Everything Everywhere All at Once, that rose a little bit on the Best Picture winner award. Scream from 2021 or 2022. When did Scream come out? 2022. That jumped up again with the new Scream movie. So, obviously things like that, and Training Day being in the top 10, new release on 4K. But it's just really, really interesting. So I would definitely recommend you check them out. I will continue to cover them each week and talk about some of these odd things that are popping up. But I think that it's well worth your time to head over to Media Play News, because they just have some of the best content. Like, they're really one of the only people out there that are covering sales dollars and actually like revenue. So then one of the last things I want to do, and this will be sort of timely if you guys are actually listening to this, within a few days, but I just want to highlight some deals that I'm seeing right now. If there's any sales going on, things like that. So right now, there's actually some decent deals on Amazon. There's like Shazam for $13 on 4K. Assassin's Creed is only $6 on 4K. You can get the Planet of the Apes trilogy for $18 on 4K. That's the new 3 movies, Rise, Dawn, and War. Wolf of Wall Street is only $18 on a steelbook. Watchmen, the Ultimate Cut, seems to have come like back in print a little bit. That was like hard to find for a while. That's $18.99. Blade Runner is $18.99, and then Heat on 4K, which, yeah, I had my issues with it, but I still do think it's the best release of the movie. That's only $8.99 right now on 4K. So that's a pretty good pickup. Now, over at Groove.com, I do want to highlight some of what they're doing this week. They've had some new sales that I want to pull up, but they continue to do like these 2 for $22 4K movies, which is honestly a pretty good deal. They also do 3 Blu-rays for $15.99. So if you want to check them out, it's GRUV.com. I'll put a link down in the description, but 2 for $22, you can get titles like E.T., you can get Total Recall, Field of Dreams, The Invisible Man, the Ip Man series, you can get Hobbs and Shaw and some of the Fast and Furious movies, Backdraft, Apollo 13, Peter Jackson's King Kong, Knives Out, Do the Right Thing. Like, there's some really good movies on here, and that 2 for $22 isn't bad. They also have some newer releases and some other movies that are 2 for $27. So go check them out as well. And as always, you can get a bunch of DVDs or 2 Blu-rays for $16, 3 Blu-rays for $15.99. They always have some good stuff going on, but I would definitely recommend checking out Groove.com. Other than that, I don't see a ton of deals this week. People are reporting that Dollar Tree, I guess, is getting some more movies. That's always a place to look if you want some $1 Blu-rays. It's never really anything too great. But the other place to check out recently has been HamiltonBook.com. I placed an order there recently for Deep Red, Dario Argento's movie on 4K. Got that for like $18. Flatliners for $15. They also had the Shawscope Volume 1 box set for only $60. So check out HamiltonBook.com and look for their new releases and new price cuts, because they have had some really good stuff on boutique labels. Like, there's a lot of Arrow Video, some 4K, bunch of Blu-ray. It's a really, really good spot to check out. So definitely check out HamiltonBook.com. But as always, if you want to stay up to date on all the latest on deals, make sure you're following me on Twitter, Instagram, all the social media accounts, because I do try to post the big deals over there when they do drop. But yeah, that's the first episode here of Coming Soon, the new addition to the Films at Home podcast. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this little breakdown of what's coming out this week, some of these market share revenue reports and some of the deals that are going on. But I will do this each Tuesday. These episodes will drop. So right as you're getting ready to head out and shop for more movies or check out the deals, check out what drops this week. This will be out there on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, all your favorite audio platforms. And I'll also post it on YouTube as well, which it won't be the most exciting thing. I'm not going to do any visuals or anything. I'm just going to, put up the podcast episode. But definitely, if you want to watch it on YouTube or have it on in the background on your computer, that is always an option as well. But if you do enjoy it, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, like this video. And if you're on those audio platforms, I'd appreciate the 5-star reviews. Those help us grow the podcast as we've been growing recently. A lot of new 5-star reviews have come in. Helps tremendously to get us ranking a little bit higher. And of course, just download, listen to these episodes, watch these videos. All that support is excellent. So appreciate it, guys. Have a great rest of your day. Happy Tuesday. Happy Blu-ray shopping, 4K shopping, whatever you're up to today. But stay safe, stay healthy out there, and I will talk to you all soon.
Coming soon. Be sure to subscribe to the Films at Home podcast using your favorite app so you don't miss another episode. And while you're there, don't forget to rate and review this podcast, which helps us out tremendously. You can also help support us by watching our short-form content over on YouTube and TikTok by searching Films at Home. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at films_at_home. The intro and outro were created by Elin Osborne. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.